Welcome to the Turing Test, your daily deep dives podcast. Let's jump right into some mind-bending AI puzzles.
Absolutely glad to be here. So, the big question today, when a chatbot delivers nonsense, is it actually lying?
Right, that's the core of it. But, think about it. When your favorite bot starts spitting out wild answers, like, say, claiming the 1904 Olympics were held on Mars, it's not really lying in the human sense.
Yeah,
It's, generating what seems plausible, just based on, predicting the next token.
exactly. It's like you're not catching it with a conscience. It's just a statistical blunder, right?
Right, exactly. And that leads us into our first debate. What exactly is an AI hallucination? Essentially, it's a confident answer that isn't actually grounded in real facts, be it a fake legal case or a non-existent medical study. The term hallucination got coined around 2020 to capture that gap between fluent language and actual accuracy.
So even the best systems fall into this trap because they optimize for plausibility, not fact-checking.
Yes, absolutely. MIT Sloan's Generative AI Working Group points out that these models are rewarded for sounding convincing over being accurate. It's like, you end up with Frankenfacts stitched together from many memorized patterns.
And that brings us to our second question. Why do these large language models, especially the bigger ones, hallucinate more?
Right. It's counterintuitive. You'd expect a larger model to be, more refined, but as they increase,
Yes.
they also blend more patterns together. So, when a model has loaded up on so many examples, it can sometimes combine details that never really went together.
Yeah. And a recent article, I believe from Live Science, even commented that OpenAI's O3 model shows more hallucinations than earlier versions. Clearly, scaling up parameters isn't a silver bullet.
True, building more layers means more creative outputs, if we can call them that might read as definitive, but are actually just, statistical composites.
And it's interesting because sometimes those very same patterns make the model sound all the more decisive.
Right, which segues into our third hot topic. Can Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG, fix the hallucination problem?
Yes, RAG is like strapping a search engine to the model. First, it retrieves real, trustworthy documents, and then it writes the answer using that real-world evidence.
Exactly. For example, a Forbes Tech Council article even reported a 35% drop in hallucinations on certain tasks when RAG was applied. But it's not a magic cure-all.
Right, because if the retrieval part brings in the wrong or incomplete documents, then we're still looking at errors. Garbage in means garbage out, after all.
Yes, definitely. And it only reduces the odds of hallucination in the synthesis step, rather than eliminating them completely. Think of it like using scaffolding to build a house faster, but still needing quality bricks.
Yeah, and for enterprise applications like customer support, anchoring answers in a verified knowledge base is a total game changer, right?
Absolutely. Every major cloud vendor has now rolled out their own RAG toolkit in the past 6 months. It shows the industry's serious push to ground AI responses in actual data.
That's a huge shift. Now moving on, how are we actually measuring or spotting these hallucinations at scale?
Ah yes, our fourth question. Enter the Vectara Hallucination Leaderboard. Updated recently, it evaluates popular models by running them on tasks like document summarization, flagging those invented details.
Right, that's fascinating because it gives us concrete numbers. Like Google's Gemini 2 Flash reportedly sits at a 0.7% hallucination rate, while smaller models might be closer to 5%.
Exactly. These benchmarks really shine a flashlight on the issue. And researchers are also experimenting with token-level detectors that highlight uncertain words in real time. It's like having a built-in red flag for dubious claims.
Which would be super handy in high-stakes fields. Imagine a bot in medicine or law showing you its level of confidence as it responds.
Precisely. And that feeds right into our final question. Should AI be forced to admit uncertainty?
Right, This one really gets the debate heating up. On one hand, requiring AI to flag uncertainty might impair creative responses. On the other, in areas like medicine, you really need rigor.
Exactly. A Reuters study demonstrated that most chatbots happily fabricate citations, except note this, Anthropic's Claude, which in half the cases actually refused to generate bogus citations, thanks to its constitutional AI rules.
Yeah, but here's my counterpoint though. If we force models to always say, I don't know, or, explicitly show uncertainty, don't you think it might make them too cautious, perhaps even stifling their creative potential?
You've got a point. But honestly, it's about balancing risk versus creativity. In life or death scenarios like healthcare, it's worth trading a bit of creativity for, trust and verification.
True. And the EU AI Act's guidelines, ratified in April 2025, actually require robust mechanisms for indicating model confidence for high-risk applications. So at least in regulated fields, there's a mandate.
Right, and I think that's a smart move. It's like having a built-in pause button for your AI. When it's a critical situation, it defers to authoritative sources, and in low-risk scenarios, it can be more, freewheeling.
I really like that analogy. A pause button to switch between rigor and creativity.
Now, if we piece all these points together, here's our quick recap. Hallucinations aren't really intentional lies, they're statistical side effects.
Yep.
Larger models may amplify the problem due to the blending of data patterns, but RAG seems to curb the issue by grounding responses in external documents.
And the leaderboard measurements, along with token-level detectors, are giving us a real handle on the rates of these hallucinations.
That's right. And as we advance, teaching AI to say, I don't know, let me check, might be our next big leap. After all, trust but verify is key.
Exactly. It's a balancing act between ensuring factual accuracy and preserving the creative, free-form expressions of AI.
Right. And it's really like having a, smart friend who sometimes speaks without thinking, so you gotta double-check their facts every now and then.
Absolutely. Whether we're talking about legal cases on Mars or ensuring reliable medical data, the takeaway is clear. Our AI systems need both grounding in reality and, when necessary, the humility to admit uncertainty.
That's the crux of it. Trust your AI, but always verify what it says. And listen, if nothing else sticks, remember that the AI might be brilliant, but just like us, sometimes it speaks before thinking.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for tagging along on this wild ride. Like and subscribe. Comments, both good and bad, are more than welcome.